Hello, welcome to another video by LSX Engines, Tuning, and Marine. In this video, I'm about to put the front timing cover on this 4.3 liter Mercruiser V6. But before I do that, I want to discuss how I install the camshaft and the balance shaft and time and so forth. So when you put your camshaft and your balance shaft in, the balance shaft goes in first, and it's right here. And it's actually a little bit, the back bearing is just an oil journal. It's just like your main engine bearings up here, where you just have a steel surface on a soft bearing, and it gets fed lubricating oil under pressure. So it's just like the main bearings. The front bearing is a ball bearing, and it doesn't get fed with lubrication from any kind of a pressurized port. It just gets splashed lubrication from inside the engine valley. And it's a ball bearing, so it probably could do without lubrication. But anyway, to get this balance shaft in, I take a hammer, a wooden hammer handle, and tap lightly on this bolt and knock the balance shaft in. Because it's not a press fit, but it is a tight fit. So it takes a little bit of effort to get the balance shaft in. But once it's in, there's a retaining plate for the balance shaft. You can see it right there. And this screw and that screw is what retains the balance shaft in. So you put the balance shaft in, and you tighten these screws here. And I think it's 106 inch-pounds. I'm not sure what Torx that is. I know it's a Torx bolt. I don't remember what size it is. So you just have to figure that out. Then after you put your balance shaft in and get the plate secured, by the way, I put blue Loctite on screws like this inside the engine. I always use blue Loctite to keep them coming out, vibrating loose. Then you put your camshaft in. The camshaft is right here. That's the center of the camshaft. You put it in, and it's also got a retaining plate just like this, and it's got two screws also, so you put them in also at, I think, 106 inch-pounds. If that's different, if that's wrong, I'll correct it in the description of this video. Once your cam is in and secured with the retaining plate, you then put on what's called the drive gear for your balance shaft. This is your driven gear, your balance shaft driven gear, and you can see the drive shaft right behind this is your cam gear. You can see the drive gear behind it right there. So that goes on your cam next. And so when you do that, you have to time this drive gear with the driven gear with the two dots. Let me see if I can see the dot on here. I don't see it. Must be lined up right now. So anyway, you line up the two dots, just like I'm about to show you the camshaft and crank gear, how to time those, but it's similar to this. So you have a dot on this gear and a dot on that gear, and the dots should line up with the two shafts. There's a line between this shaft and that shaft. That line, the two dots should be in line together, and they also should be opposite each other on the gear. And that way you've got your balance shaft timed with your camshaft. Then, and that's important because the balance shaft weights. This engine's upside down, so I'm not going to show you the balance shaft yet. But the balance shaft weights are timed with the engine rotation. So you've got a 1-to-2 ratio, so the camshaft turns at half the engine rotation, but then you got a 2-to-1 ratio, so which means that the balance shaft is now back up the same speed as the crankshaft. So the balance shaft is turning at the same speed as the crankshaft. So then once you get your drive gear on your cam, it's not held down yet. It's in time with this gear, but it's not held down. Then you put the cam gear on. By the way, you put your cam gear on with your chain at the same time. You wrap your chain around this gear and then place this gear onto the cam. And while you're doing that, you must get them timed. So if you can see if we can show you. So if you notice closely, there's an arrow right there on this gear and an arrow on this gear. And those arrows must point together, must point at each other when you install this cam gear. So what it basically means is when this back gear and that gear are timed, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Now you just rotate your cam so this gear fits on the front of your cam, and that arrow is pointed to that arrow, and that times your cam with your crank. And then once you get this cam gear on, you just put these 3 bolts in. I think I'm gonna say they're 18 foot-pounds. Again, if that's wrong, I'll correct it in the description of the video. But I put blue Loctite on each of these 3 bolts and tighten it up to, I believe, 18 foot-pounds. And that's it. Then your cam is in time with your crank, and your balance shaft is in time with your crank also. And that's how you time your timing set on your engine. This timing set's brand new. It's I believe it's a Cloy's part. I don't remember what the part number is. It's probably in the first video I did on how to, usually I do a video in the first of the series on what parts are used, just so you can buy them all at one time. But if you see, that chain is a little bit narrow. But this is what they sold for this engine, for the 2002 Vortec V6. They make another chain. This came off a V8, 5.0 V8. It's much wider, and the gear is much more stout. It's a roller gear. I mean, it's a roller chain. It's not a double roller. It's just a single roller, but it's a pretty stout setup. And I don't know if that would be better or not. Like I say, this is what was recommended for a 2002 Vortec. This is much lighter, so it has less inertia. So I'm gathering this engine could spool up faster than that. And so also because that other gear has more weight, the cam is going to decelerate. When it's decelerating and accelerating, it's going to put more stress on the chain and stuff. Of course, the chain is heavier duty, so I'm going to stay with this right now. But on that particular system is recommended for 5.0 V8s by Rock Auto, and I like it, so I may use that on the 5.0 and 5.7s. I'm not sure. But anyway, I just wanted you to see the cam setup, or the timing chain setup, and the cam gear for this 4.3 V6. And that's it for setting up cams. The next video will show how to install the timing cover. Thanks for watching.